In the last class, dear students, we have learned that growth is not a defining property of a living organism. We have learned reproduction is not a defining property of living organism. And then we have learned about metabolism, which is sum total of all the reactions that take place in our body. And it is a defining property of living organisms. So yay, that we got one defining property. Let's see other properties of living organism. So if you see here, we are having one cell multiplying into multiple cells. Then we are having, it is forming an organ system, and at last an organism. So what is this? What is this we are talking about? In this here, we are talking about that this is cellular organization. Now, what is this cellular organization? Cellular organization is basically in which the cells are forming tissues which are having specific functions. Tissues are forming organs. Organs are forming organ system. And organ systems are then forming organism, a whole organisms. Okay, so this kind of organization, if we see, it is only present in living organisms. If you even take a unicellular organism like amoeba, so you can see there a nucleus is there, organelle for digesting the food is there, which we call, then we are having a food vacuole, excretory vacuole or contractile vacuole, plasma membrane which protects, everything is organized. So this kind of organization, which is essential for a living organism, is present only in living organisms. If we take this, this is, what is this? This is a bottle of water. It is made up of plastic. This is plastic. This is plastic. There is no specific organization. Yes, we can say here the atoms have combined into molecules. Different molecules have formed the compound, and that's it. Compounds are not forming anything here. They are not responsible for any kind of function of this bottle. So this is a non-living thing, and we are living things where we are having organization, whether it is within the one cell or whether it is in a multicellular organism. So cellular organization is a what defining property of living organisms. Okay. Next, consciousness. What is this basically, consciousness? We are conscious of the world around us. Consciousness basically means that we are aware of what is happening around us. We respond to the stimulus. Okay. If this bottle falls on my hand, my first reaction will be ouch. I'll remove the bottle. Okay, I will be in pain. So that is my response as a living organism to that. But what will be the response of this bottle? Nothing else? Nothing? Because it's a non-living organism, it cannot respond to the stimulus. So consciousness is one of the property of living organism. Any organism will respond. An amoeba will sense the food in its surroundings, and it will respond by eating that food. You look at this plant, touch me not. We touch it, and what is happening? It is closing its leaf. You have already studied this in lower classes. This is thigmotropism. So this is what? Response to touch. This is consciousness. If you look at the photoperiod, what is basically this photoperiod? Photo here means light. And period means duration. If we see, we are having different types of plants. Like you must have seen certain vegetables, they come in winter season, certain vegetables, they come in summer season. It is not like all the vegetables are available all year around. Some vegetables are all available only in certain seasons. So why is this so? why certain plants are flowering at a certain period of time? Because they are responding to the duration of the light. For example, if you see here, this is a short day plant. Means if it is getting lesser amount of light, then only it will flower, otherwise not. So this line here shows the critical length of daylight. Here in the first case, if you see, the plant is getting more than the required light, it is not flowering. Second case, it is getting less than the critical length, so it has started to flower because it responds to shorter duration of light. Okay. Here what we have done is we are giving it intermittent light. First we have given it the lesser light which it required, then we are giving intermittent light. What will happen? It doesn't require that extra light, it will not flower. It is not flowering here, it is not flowering here. Second one, if you see, these are long day plants, means they require more than the critical amount of light. So if you see here, we have given more light, the plant is flowering. We have decreased the amount of light, it has not flowered. We are giving intermittent amounts of light, again it is flowering because it is getting more amounts of light. So again, what is this? This is response of a living organism, that is plants, to duration of light. That is also an example of consciousness. Look at this. If you see here, there is an amoeba which is engulfing the food in its surrounding. Okay, so what is this? Amoeba is actually responding to the food in its surrounding, engulfed it. Like, look here, you can see the amoeba has engulfed the food inside it, is present inside the food vacuole. It is being digested around. So that is consciousness. So what we can say, consciousness is an defining property of living organism. Can we say this? But what about coma patients, those patients who are in coma? So in that case, they do not respond to the stimulus. Can we tell them they are dead? Now there is a problem here. If a patient is brain dead, then the patient will never respond to any kind of stimulus, and we do say that medically the person is considered dead. The person is alive only with the help of machines. If the person is not brain dead, then we do not consider them as not living. We still consider them living. Sooner or later, they are going to respond to the stimulus. Okay, that is for a certain duration of time. That is why it is said that if a patient in coma, the relative should talk to the patient. Maybe they will respond to something to help them to heal better. Okay, so even coma patients are considered living. Okay, so consciousness is the defining property of living organisms. It is not exhibited by any non-living organisms. Okay, homeostasis. Now look at this picture. If you see here, this is the sensor in our brain. We are having the brain which controls all the activities of our body. So we are having the portions in our brain which are able to control the regulate the temperature of our body depending on the outside temperature. For example, if you see this one, in this the person is having, what is the stimulus here? Very high temperature. So brain has received that stimulus, and what is the brain doing? Brain is going to give the response in the form of sweating. Sweating will cool down that person, or the person will be instructed to go indoors in a cooler region. Okay. Again, if you see here the stimulus that is given to the person is of a very low temperature. So what is the feedback given by the brain? The person has started to shiver. Shivering is the process of our body to generate heat. Shivering, movement, means release of kinetic energy. As a result, warmth is produced. When you rub our hands in the winter, what we are doing? We are producing warmth. So warmth is being produced. Okay, so what is happening in both the cases? In both the cases, with the help of our brain, our body is trying to what? Is trying to control the body temperature. Okay, it is trying to maintain it, make it stable. So this type of property of a living organism is known as homeostasis. Okay, homeo means same, and stasis word comes from condition. So to keep the body in the same condition is known as homeostasis, and the body is responding by different ways, by sweating or shivering. Okay, in 10th class you have studied about nephrons, about kidneys. So what is the function of kidneys? One of the function of kidneys or nephron is osmoregulation. They are regulating the osmotic fluid in our body. So that is also an example of homeostasis. Okay, so we can say that homeostasis is one of the defining properties of living organisms. Okay, if homeostasis becomes unstable, if there is a problem with the homeostasis, normal condition of the body, then it gives rise to diseases. Okay, before that our body will try, for example, if a foreign agent will strike our body will try to kill that foreign agent. So that is what body is trying to maintain homeostasis. So homeostasis is the process by which our body tries to maintain the internal balance of the body, and this only happens in the living organism. Okay, so this is the defining property of living organism. So we have seen metabolism, consciousness, homeostasis, cellular organization are defining properties of living organism. Let's do few of the questions to see if you can understand it or not. Which one of the following aspects is an exclusive characteristic of living things? Isolated metabolic reactions in vitro, increase in mass from inside only, perception of events happening in the environment and their memory, increase in mass by accumulation of materials both on surface as well as internally. I'm stopping here, you think, and then I'll give the answer. The correct answer is perception of events happening in the environment and their memory, consciousness. Okay. The living organisms can be unexpectedly distinguished from the non-living things on the basis of their ability for interaction with the environment and progressive evolution, reproduction, growth and movement, responsiveness to touch. Which one do you think? Interaction with the environment and progressive evolution. We interact as a living organism, we interact with the environment. Okay. Biological organization starts with cellular level, organismic level, atomic level, submicroscopic molecular level. Biological organization starts with cellular level. Okay, now look at this picture. Can you tell me what are all the living things that you see? We see a tree, we see a boy, we see a dog, we see some more plants, grass is also there. There is grass. Okay. So what is common between all these living things? All of them are having metabolic reactions going on in their body. Plants are having photosynthesis, respiration. Okay, and a human and the dog both are having digestion also, they are also having respiration, they are conscious of their surroundings. Okay, in plants, if there is a more amount of humidity, then the transpiration rate will decrease. If there is very high temperature, transpiration rate will increase, so they are responding. The boy is responding. If there is very high temperature, the boy will sweat, or the dog will feel thirsty, they are also responding. So the metabolism, consciousness, they are conscious, metabolic activities are happening, they all have cellular organization. Okay, they all have cellular organization. So the and homeostasis, so these are some of the properties which are common in all the living organisms. Now let's talk about one of the properties, that was organization. And I was saying in living organism, the cells are organized into tissues, tissues into organs and organ system. Here we are having the snowflakes, and if you see, they are also having a very specific type of organization. So can we say these are living because cellular organization is one of the defining properties of living organisms? So can we say these snowflakes are living? No, we cannot say these snowflakes are living. Why? Because in living organism, cellular organization is having a purpose. Specific cells are going to organize into tissues. It's not like any of the cells will group to form a tissues. No, only the nerve cells will organize to form a nerve tissue. The cells of the muscles will organize to form a muscle tissue. Epithelial cells will organize to form an epithelial tissue, and that tissue will have a definite function. Okay, then those tissues with some other tissues having the almost related function will organize to form an organ. It's not like anything will organize to form an organ. But if you see non-living organisms, the organization can be regarding any of the purpose. Okay, if you see these snowflake crystals, yes, they look organized, but they are not serving any kind of purpose there. Except, yes, me giving it a beautiful design, certain stability to the snowflake, and that's it. Maybe this and this snowflake will join together, or this and this snowflake will join together and make a bigger snowflake. But there is no kind of pattern of organization or a purpose of organization. So this is not a living thing. Next one, fire. If you see here, fire can move, fire can grow. Okay, and if we bring a simple wood to the in front of this fire, it will produce another fire. So reproduction also, it will respond to its surroundings also. By if there is more drier wood around it, or more dry leaves, then the fire will spread. It is responding and it is burning the wood, so some kind of reactions are happening. Can we still call this a living organism? It is actually fulfilling most of the criteria of living organism. Yes, what do you guys think? See, the fire is spreading, it is responding. The fire is lacking cellular organization. It is lacking homeostasis. And because of this, we are not able to call it a living organism. Even the metabolic reactions, whatever chemical reactions might be happening, these are not the living reactions. So fire is a non-living thing. This chair. Chair is made of wood. Wood comes from the tree, and tree is a living organism. So can we call this chair a living organism because it has come from a part of living organism? No, we cannot. Why we cannot? Because it's a dead wood. It will have cellular organization. If we dissect this wood, we will see tissues, cells, everything will be there. But it is not having any kind of metabolic reactions. It is not having any kind of consciousness. It is not having homeostasis, which is one of the main defining properties of living organisms. So this chair is not a living organism. This robot can move, it can talk, it can respond to the consciousness. If you give it a command, it will follow that. Okay, it has certain circuitry, certain kind of circuits which are maintaining all the systems, keeping all the systems stable. So we can say homeostasis is also there. Can we call this living now? Still we cannot call it living. It is not having any kind of cellular organization, no cells developed into tissues or tissues into organs and organ systems. And the commands that it is following, these are already part of the inputs that have been given to it. It cannot think freely on its own. So yes, it is not a living organism. Okay. So what we can call living organisms? Living organisms should be self-replicating. This means they are capable of reproduction. They are evolving. They interact with the environment and they evolve according to the environment. They are self-regulating. This means there is homeostasis in them. The body works to achieve the stable condition. And they respond to stimuli. This means they are conscious. There are interactive systems present in them. This means the one system is interacting with one another through reactions, which is metabolism. So in this definition of living organisms are self-replicating, evolving and self-regulating interactive systems capable of responding to external stimuli, we have summed up all the essential properties of living organisms. Okay. So living organisms are those organisms which will exhibit metabolism, which will exhibit homeostasis, which will exhibit cellular organization, which will exhibit consciousness and homeostasis. These five are the main properties which separate a living organism from non-living organism and which are actually exhibited in all living organisms. How many species have been discovered on the earth till now? 8.7 million species? No. Only 1.4 million species have been discovered till now. We have recorded till now. So why this number 8.7 million species? That is the estimate of the scientists that around this much species may be present on earth. Just remember 8.7 million is a very huge number and we have just discovered 1.4, not even half of it.